What Joseph will eventually come to be known for isn't a dreamer, but a reader of dreams. And Jacob dwelled in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the lineage of Jacob. Joseph, 17 years old, was tending the flock with his brothers, assisting the son of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, the wives of his father. And Joseph brought ill report of them to their father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons, for he was the child of his old age, and he made him an ornamented tunic. And his brothers saw it was their father who loved Joseph more than all his brothers, and they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. My students are often taken aback because Joseph brought ill report of them to their father. Students often wonder, is this just the youngest brother being a snitch? Hold on to that, because I think the text later will start to answer our question. Oftentimes we think that the brothers simply despise Joseph because of his ornamented tunic, but the text sets it up that the ornamented tunic is actually a representation of his favored status. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers, and they hated him all the more. And he said to them, "Listen, pray to this dream that I dreamed, and look, we were binding sheaves in the field, and look, my sheaf arose and actually stood up, and look, your sheaves drew round and bowed to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Do you mean to reign over us? Do you mean to rule us?" And they hated him all the more for his dreams and for his words. There are a few interesting things going on here. What Joseph will eventually come to be known for isn't a dreamer, but a reader of dreams. Here we begin in the narrative. We see Joseph himself is the dreamer. And he dreamed yet another dream and recounted it to his brothers and said, "Look, I dreamed a dream again, and look, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to me." And he recounted it to his father and to his brothers, and his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we really come, I and your mother and your brothers, to bow down before you to the ground?" And his brothers were jealous of him, while his father kept the thing in mind. And again, we do not get his understanding of this dream. It's just these enigmatic dreams at this point. And his brothers went to graze their father's flock at Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "You know, your brothers are pasturing at Shechem. Come, let me send you to them." And he said to him, "Here I am." And he said, "Go pray to see how your brothers fare and how the flocks fare, and bring me back word." Now we get to see perhaps that which preceded there in chapter 37, that Joseph isn't bringing ill report just in and of himself. It's his father who's asking him to go and look after his brothers, to see how the flock is faring. And of course he goes and he looks for his brothers, and they saw him from afar before he drew near, and they plotted against him to put him to death. And they said to each other, "Here comes that dream master, and so now let us kill him and fling him into one of the pits, and we can say, 'A vicious beast has devoured him,' and we shall see what comes of his dreams." I find this moment fascinating. One, notice they're all speaking together. Each said to each other, it's as if they're speaking in a unified manner. And I find this fascinating because what you saw in the dream were all of the sheaves on one side and Joseph there against all the others. And this is going to play out in the narrative for us. All the brothers united against one brother, right? Who is in fact the beloved of his father. And Reuben heard and came to his rescue and said, "We must not take his life." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Fling him into this pit in the wilderness, and do not raise a hand against him," so that Reuben might rescue him from their hands to bring him back to his father. Okay, we have to stop here. I think this is a really important detail in the narrative. First off, you have to realize Reuben is the eldest son. Whatever favoritism is being heaped upon Joseph, this really is something that ought to be going to Reuben as firstborn. And so now think about what happens if Reuben's plan comes to fruition. What happens? Just think about it. All the brothers over here versus Joseph, the one over here. And then they fling him into the pit, And then Reuben rescues him and brings him back to his father so that Reuben can stand there in solidarity with Joseph, his father's beloved son, and perhaps get some of Joseph's favoritism, some of the light that shines on Joseph, to shine a little bit on Reuben, who of course has fallen out of his father's good graces. And it happened when Joseph came to his brothers that they stripped him of his tunic, the ornamented tunic that he had on him. And they took him and flung him into the pit. And the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they raised their eyes and saw, and look, a caravan of Ishmaelites was coming, bearing gum and balm and ladanum on their way down to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What gain is there if we kill our brothers and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and our hand will not be against him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And it's important to take note here that it is in fact Judah is the one who wants to find some sort of material gain in selling Joseph into slavery. Just take note of that, because this is going to become important at the end of the story. And his brothers agreed, and they sold Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben came back to the pit, and look, Joseph was not in the pit. And he rent his garments, and he came back to his brothers, and he said, "The boy is gone, and I, where can I turn?" And they took Joseph's tunic and slaughtered a kid, and dipped the tunic in blood. And they sent the ornamented tunic and had brought it to their father, saying, "This is a beautiful moment. Recognize, pray, is it your son's tunic or not?" And he recognized it, and he said, "It is my son's tunic." Just think about this for a moment. They're showing this kind of condensed symbol of their father's favoritism. Right? He can see it standing of Joseph who's gone, but also that condensed symbol of their brother's hatred for him, of his favored status. And Jacob rent his clothes and put on sackcloth round his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose to console him, and he refused to be consoled, and said, "Rather, I will go down to my son in Sheol mourning." And he keened for him.
Thank you for watching. We hope you're enjoying our highlight series and invite you to explore all of Hillsdale College's online courses. They are free and for everyone who loves to learn.